I Am a Filipino by Carlos P. Romulo. I am a Filipino, inheritor of a glorious past, hostage to the uncertain future. As such, I must prove equal to a twofold task. The task of meeting my responsibility to the past, and the task of performing my obligations to the future. I sprung from a hardy race, child many generations removed of ancient Malayan pioneers. Across the centuries, the memories comes rushing back to me of brown-skinned men putting out to sea in ships that were as frail as their heart were stout. Over the sea, I see them come, borne upon the billowing wave and whistling wind, carried upon the mighty swell of hope. Hope of free abundance of new land that was to be their home and their children's forever. This is the land they sought and found. Every inch of shore that their eyes first set upon, every hill and mountain that beckoned to them with a green and purple invitation, every mile of rolling plain that their view encompassed, every river and lake that promised a plentiful living and fruitful of commerce is a hallowed spot to me. By the strength of their heart and hands, by every right of law, human and divine, this land and all the appurtenance thereof, the black and fertile soil, the seas and lakes and rivers teeming with fish, the forest with their inexhaustible wealth in wildlife and timber, the mountains with their bowels swollen with minerals, the whole of this rich and happy land has been, for centuries without number, the land of my fathers. This land I receive in trust from them, and in trust will pass it to my children, and so on until the world is no more. I am a Filipino. In my blood runs the immortal seed of heroes, seed that flowered down the centuries in deeds of courage and defiance. In my veins yet pulses the same hot blood that sent Lapu-Lapu to battle against the first invader of this land, that nerved Lacandula in the combat against the alien foe, that drove Diego Silang and the Gohoy into rebellion against the foreign oppressor. That seed is immortal. It is the self-same seed that flowered in the heart of Jose Rizal that morning in Bagong Bayan, when a volley of shots put an end to all that was mortal of him and made his spirit deathless forever. The same that flowered in the heart of Bonifacio in Balintawak, of Gregorio del Pilar at Teradpas, of Antonio Luna at Kalumpit, that bloomed in the flowers of frustration in the sad heart of Emilio Aguinaldo at Palanan, and yet burst forth royally again in the proud heart of Manuel L. Quezon, when he stood at last on the threshold of ancient Malacañang Palace, in the symbolic act of possession and racial vindication. The seed I bear within me is an immortal seed. It is the mark of my manhood, the symbol of dignity as a human being, like the seeds that were once buried in the tomb of Tutankhamen many thousand years ago. It shall grow and flower and bear fruit again. It is the insignia of my race and my generation, but a stage in an unending search of my people for freedom and happiness. I am a Filipino, child of the marriage of the East and the West. The East with its languor and mysticism, its positivity and endurance was my mother, and my sire was the West that came thundering across the seas with the cross and sword and the machine. I am of the East, an eager participant in its spirit, and in its struggle for liberation from the imperialist yoke. But I also know that the East must awake from its century-eyed sleep, shake off the lethargy that has bound his limbs, and start moving where destiny awaits. For I, too, am of the West, and the vigorous people of the West have destroyed forever the peace and quiet that once were ours. I can no longer live a being apart from those whose world now trembles to the roar of bomb and cannon shot. I cannot say of a matter of universal life and death, of freedom and slavery for all mankind, that it concerns me not. For no man and no nation is an island, but a part of the main, there is no longer any East and West, only individuals and nations making those momentous choices, which are hints upon which history resolves. At the vanguard of progress in this part of the world, I stand a forlorn figure in the eyes of some, but not one defeated and lost. For through the thick interlacing branches of habit and custom above me, I have seen the light of the sun, and I know that it is good. I have seen the light of justice and equality and freedom. My heart has been lifted by the vision of democracy, and I shall not rest until my land and my people shall have been blessed by this, beyond the power of any man or nation to subvert or destroy.